Enslaved people in the American Revolution is a subject that's really dear to my heart. I mean, it's something that I always really emphasize with my students. I said, most of you have had some history of the American Revolution, and most of you can tell me something about Thomas Jefferson or George Washington, but it's just as important that we think about what the revolution meant for the people they kept in captivity. What did American freedom mean for George Washington's slaves? What did it mean for Thomas Jefferson's slaves? What enslaved people do during the American Revolution is just really completely rational. So for them, they weren't seeking a political freedom. They were seeking an actual freedom, like a status change, like to be a free person, not to be politically free. And so you have enslaved people running away in mass. The estimates are about 100,000 enslaved people run away during the American Revolution, which is about 1 in 5. That's North and South. You can really trace it by where the British Army is. So where the opportunity presented itself, enslaved people take advantage of it. And also as the slave patrols break down, as masters go to war, as overseers go to war, you have increased opportunity to flee. And that's exactly what they do. Of course they do. You also have enslaved people who volunteer to fight. So people that are fighting for their freedom. The British were the first to offer freedom in exchange for service, famously Lord Dunmar's proclamation. So you have a number of people who are running to British lines in order to serve as soldiers in return for their freedom. And so most African Americans actually fight for the British, about 15,000. You get about 5,000 fighting for the Patriots. And why there's so few fighting for the Patriots is because the only Patriot armies that offered freedom in exchange for service were the ones in the North. And so the vast majority of enslaved people live in the South, not in the North. So in the North, where people had the opportunity to fight with the Patriot Army for freedom, they did. In the South, that wasn't extended because those were slave societies where sometimes enslaved people were half or even the majority of the population in a colony like South Carolina, and no way were they going to offer freedom in exchange for service. And so Black people are fighting literally to be free. And of course they were. The rhetoric of the revolution, which was literally in the air as the Declaration of Independence is read aloud, as state constitutions are read aloud in town squares, of course, that language appealed to people who lived in actual bondage. And so you get enslaved people that are running away. You get enslaved people that are volunteering to serve in exchange for freedom. You also get people who begin to do things like petition for their freedom or sue for their freedom. The most successful example of this would be in Massachusetts, where you have several enslaved people, Quack Walker and Elizabeth Freeman among them, who sue for their freedom in the name of the new state constitution. And in Massachusetts, they win. And it breaks down the institution of slavery in that space. And so African Americans throughout the Revolutionary period are holding true to the values of the American Revolution and trying to be free people.